Hello everybody, Adam here, and before we get started today, it's a very quick announcement. As a result of the whole, time has lost all meaning thing brought on by the pandemic, we have only just realised that this is our 4th birthday. That's right, we have been going for 4 whole years, and we have no plans on ending any time soon, I'm sure you'll be glad to hear. Had I realised on time, and if international shipping wasn't such a mess thanks to the pandemic and Brexit and everything else, I would have done a giveaway, but I didn't, and I haven't. So sorry about that. I will try and sort something out for later on in the year. I just thought it was worth marking and to say thank you all for having been with us for so long, and we hope you stay with us for all the years to come as well. Right, enough of me rambling, it's time to get on with the story. You know how it goes. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away. You're listening to Force Majeure, an actual play Star Wars podcast. My name is Adam and I'm your host, and today's episode will be brought to you after these words from our sponsors. Well, howdy there. I'm Tweezem Bonk, and I'm here to tell you about the new Recon Dat Saxifrage from the Zaffa Corporation. But Tweezem, I hear you say, what in the distant star of void exactly is a Recon Dat Saxifrage? Well, I'll tell you what it isn't. Available through the ordinary commercial channels. What's better than showing your friends that you have something exclusive, bespoke, and borderline illegal? A treasure they can never possess because they just don't shop at the right places. And sure, it ain't the cheapest thing you will ever own, and there's a chance you might get yourself into some trouble should the ISB come knocking on your door. But isn't a little danger worth it for the bragging rights? I certainly think so, and I should know. I'm Tweezem Bonk after all. Each Recon Dat Saxifrage is individually sourced based on your needs, disposable income, social standing, and astromantic forecast. So even if you're not the only one in your peer group with a Recon Dat Saxifrage, yours will be unique, and therefore even better. So don't delay any further. Contact one of our specialist dealers today. And if you don't know how to do that, well, maybe this limited time offer just isn't for you. And wouldn't that be a shame? The Recon Dat Saxifrage from the Zaffa Corporation. It's time to treat yourself. Hello everybody and welcome back to episode 25 of the Coldfire Chronicles. My name is Adam and I am the GM for this campaign, and I'm joined around the table by some wonderful people, and they are going to introduce you to their characters, although let's face it, by now you should probably know who they are. But even so, we continue this pantomime, we continue this pretense that they are all strangers to you, and you need this insight into their souls. And speaking of this insight into their souls, as they introduce themselves, they're going to answer me this question. What is the most important thing you've learned about fighting with this group of friends?
Hi, my name is Ed Fortune, and I play the character of Baren. He is a human hunter, Ataru striker, seeker. His emotional strength is justice, and his emotional weakness is cruelty. I think you've figured that out by now. Baren has learned that there is absolutely no point in giving Jiren a gun, because he'll just use it to clean his shoes every single time. He can trust Agatha to hit something very hard and to clear out the rooms, and he can also generally trust the rest of the team to get on with it and to be competent.
Thank you.
With the possible exception of Jiren.
You already excluded Agatha and Jiren from the rest of the team who were competent.
I think the rest of the team who are competent was me, or possibly Prinkle.
Yeah.
Or both.
Do not fear, I am a hero of the rebellion.
Hi, I'm Mim. I play Lasser. She's a human sentinel artisan. Her emotional strength is her curiosity, but her weakness is obsession. And the first thing she ever learnt fighting with this team was to keep your eye on Agatha, because you're never sure whether there's going to be a projectile coming your way or whether you are going to become a projectile if he hasn't noticed you. It's one of those things. I would say that she didn't trust him for a very long time, but she's got a feeling that hopefully things will work better now because she has directly told him, don't do that. Please pay attention to where I am. She's also learnt very readily to trust in the skills that Oberon has, and apart from that slight wibble when it was like, here is the clearly evil thing, shall we go kill it? Wait, no, I've had a touch of morality about this. She's pretty sure he'll just get the job done. Jiren has been the interesting journey for her because she has really learnt to trust him in that whatever he's doing, he has a reason for doing it. I wouldn't go so far as to say a plan, but he's doing things for the right reasons. And that's very reassuring to the point where she would follow him, which is good.
Hi, I'm Ross. I play Agatha, a Morailan warrior aggressor colossus, whose emotional strength is his pride, but whose weakness is obsession. Agatha has mostly learned that if he wants to get along with his team, he needs to remember where Larsa is, generally be between Larsa and whatever the danger is, and charge towards the danger and make sure that Larsa stays far away from it as possible. That way he doesn't get into any trouble after the fight has happened. That said, very recently he's been reminded that the important lesson is to not charge straight into a group of gun people because they tend to shoot and hurt you. Diving for cover might be a lesson he ought to learn at some point, but not necessarily right now.
Hi, I'm Mikey. I play Jiren. He's a Chiss Mystic Advisor. His emotional strength is his enthusiasm, but his emotional weakness is his recklessness. And Jiren doesn't fight. Jiren doesn't fight on purpose because Jiren doesn't want to fight. Jiren has no urge to hurt anybody and thinks we can all get through this by having a nice chat. And with his skill set, that's usually true. In a fight, Jiren keeps people alive. And I'm somewhat hurt to find out that Baron thinks Jiren is incompetent because he saved his life on numerous occasions. But that's me. Jiren has no idea. As to the other two, it's nice to learn when he first met Agatha was a meat shield to stop him from being harassed in prison. Agatha is a person in his own right. Agatha is his hopes and his dreams, and Jiren wants to make those happen. Jiren really likes Larsa. He thinks that she is everything he's not, and he's really impressed by that. So they're good at fighting, they are, but I'm not so sure we fight as a team. I'll just stay there and keep them alive.
I kind of want to clarify that.
No, it's fine.
Baron doesn't think that Jiren's incompetent. He just thinks that Jiren is useless in an actual fight. Everything else is great, but I give him a gun and he's like, "Hi, yes," and he'll light a cigar with it, and it's like, "Shoot them! Shoot them!"
I'll have you know, my gun this time is not on my bunk. Prinkle has it.
Yes.
We rejoin our heroes in Pyjack's front room beneath the surface of Daxos. This place has been systematically trashed, primarily by Lightsaber. All of the mementos, all of the tokens of Pyjack's life here have been destroyed. It is no longer the welcoming sanctuary from the storms that you remember it being.
Adam?
Yes?
Glancing around, now, just because you said that all of his mementos have been smashed, can we see that specifically his mementos has people been aiming for things that connect Pyjack to this life here?
Yeah.
Because that suggests rage.
I mean, there is generalised devastation throughout this small apartment complex, but the few trophies of Pyjack's life here, because all of his stuff from his time before coming to Daxos was stashed on Coldfire's Mercy, if you recall. Mm-hmm. The trophies he had here were signs of his life post-rebellion, really, since he came here and decided to be a hermit.
Cool.
Yeah.
Interesting. Sorry, go on.
However, you do have a few minutes down here now, out of the storm, to catch your breath. And that means you can roll to recover some of the strain that you've used so far. It is a difficulty-less roll, so you just roll your positive dice, and it is either cool or discipline. And for every advantage and success, you get a strain back.
Agatha will be doing that. What does 2 success and a triumph convert to?
That will give you 5 strain back.
That's very much needed. Thank you.
I rolled to get 3 strain back.
Adam, you said this place has been trashed and mementos have been destroyed. Does this look like it's been done with by different weapons, or is it all by one person with the same weapon?
It's hard to tell. Certainly, the most obvious damage has been done by lightsaber, but there are other areas where it looks like maybe some other implements or weapons have been used. It's hard to piece together from a cursory glance, really, whether this was all done at the same time and by the same person, or whether others have come down since and tossed the place, trashing what was left in the process. It's just not immediately clear.
Are there any computer systems with cameras that might have survived, or that there might be some?
No, they have been... The one that was in here, and if you recall, Lassa hacked it way back in Season 1 to find the message that Pyjak was in fact a member of the rebellion. That has been trashed from top to bottom. It is unrecoverably broken.
Is there any signs that any of this has been used recently? Beren would like to use his tracking skills to kind of investigate the room, see if there's a door that's still in use. Also look for traps.
Yeah, make me a survival test. I think it's going to be 3 purple and a setback.
Can I use Expert Tracker to get rid of that setback?
Yeah, absolutely.
2 success and 2 threat.
Okay. The threat are going to continue to tick up the sadness clock.
Oh no!
It is currently 5 out of 6. Successes-wise, down here, there is never a great deal of dust. It is just the nature of this complex. There's not an awful lot of that sort of stuff that gets down here, and especially with it having been abandoned as long as it had. But there are some traces of dirt and that sort of thing from the damage that's been done. There's no traps been left for you. It looks like the destruction has been done in 2 stages. There is some very old, there is some older damage that you reckon took place time frame wise not long after you left Daxos originally. It's kind of around that point in time. The other damage is a lot more recent, has probably taken place in the last week or so. There is some evidence that there have been booted people moving through here, kind of up and down ladder, and heading out through the doorway that led down into the other tunnels underneath Pyjak's accommodation complex, leading to where, for example, the Mercy was, and the meditation chamber is, and the larder, and the rooms that Pyjak carved out of here or adapted from existing caves that weren't his primary living spaces. Because, I mean, with him being a hunter, he did have a hanging room where the life support systems that kept this place at a livable warmth weren't installed, so it was deliberately left a lot colder so the meat would keep for longer and that sort of stuff, ready for him to then go into town and sell it all. So they are like the level below, and the tracks leading from here lead down into the tunnels and substructure. Prinkle looks absolutely horrified at all of this. He looks heartbroken, just this devastation and destruction. And as you're hunting around Beren, and as the rest of you are kind of catching your breath and taking a look, you can see Prinkle kind of forlornly trying to tidy up. You know, he's gathering some of the broken bits and making a pile. He's got his repulsor broom out and he's trying to clear away some of that. You see him go into the kitchen where the kettle was, and you hear from in there just a...
Oh, even the kettle.
Adam, before he starts getting too much into that, I want to stop him, because I don't want him to wallow in this despair. So as soon as he starts pushing his broom around, or if he goes to see the kettle first, I'll stand up, go over, and I'll just put my hand on his shoulder and say, "It is all right, my friend. It is a sad thing, but we can come back and we can clean it later."
This was his home, Jaren, and they have done this to sever his ties. Why would they? This was his home.
We are his ties, my friend. We are his ties. We will build them together. We will reconnect with him. We do not need these things. These are just things, okay? Friendships are more important. And the fact that you are trying to clear this place up suggests he has some very strong friendships indeed. Let's go and rescue him. We don't need to do this right now, okay?
Okay.
And he nods.
So I get to the stairwell. I'm very, very carefully with the scope, just making sure that there's no I'm still on the full looking for... I'm expecting there to be some sort of trap or trick left behind. Because if this is where we're being lured to, then I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. I'm going to descend now. Who wants to be behind me?
Agatha's going to get up with the stun gun he's carrying and move forward a bit, at least in part so that Prinkle doesn't rush forward into any area we've not scouted for traps yet.
Okay, I'd like Prinkle in front of me, but it doesn't really... If you, Lassa, do you want to go last, or shall I go last?
It's all right, I'll go last, and I am going to ready the net gun in my arm. So I've got the rifle now to my side, because I'm thinking, in theory, if I can use the net gun straight away, it'll give everyone more time if someone's out.
Larson, we might need you slightly further up, just in case we find something complicated.
No, I agree. You should go in front of us.
All right.
I'll be okay back here.
Yeah, Prinkle has his pistol in his right hand and his broom held almost like a sword in his left hand.
And I very cautiously descend. I've got my enhanced senses like completely up, if you see what I mean. I'm using every tool I have to kind of stay aware of what's going on as we adjust to the darkness.
Oh yeah, this was a great idea. Make sure the person who can see in the dark was at the back. Great.
Do you not have goggles?
No, I'm sure we've all got goggles. I'm just thinking if it's dark, you've got natural advantage. But
It's all right. I'll scream in a very robust way if something leaps out at us.
So the moment something happens to us, you'll scream. Great. That'll be...
And I'll be honest, he'll be attacking us with a big glowing sword. It's fine. He brings his own light source.
You head down out of Pyjack's living quarters, down through the tunnels, which then spiral down underneath to the next layer of his house, as I say, where the pantry and some of the bits and bats are. But there's something weird here, because the tunnels you're walking down go on longer than you remember them going, and they are colder, and they are darker, and they're a lot more rough-hewn, and there are turns that you don't remember there being, and there should be a door here, but there isn't, nor is there any sign there was ever a door there, and your footsteps echo more than they should.
Now, we've been in a lot of mystical kind of entrances and things like that.
Yeah, I'm thinking that.
And so Jiren at the back mutters, "Oh, for Criff's sake."
I would like to reach out with sense, please.
Okay, make me your sense roll. Remember, this is a dark side Vergence. There is always a dark side force pip available for you to use.
So I get 3 light side.
Okay.
I don't draw on the dark side. Again, a waste of a really good force roller. I'm kind of using it to push through, if you see what I mean, and see if I can find the source of this. There isn't really a see-through illusion power, but it's kind of...
There is.
Oh, there is, and I've got it. It's Seek. Can I have made that as a sense roll, and do you want me to make a separate Seek roll as well to see if there's an illusion here?
Yeah. So I will keep that in mind for your sense roll. If you also want to make me your Seek roll, to see through illusions, it is a average 2 purple vigilance check alongside your Seek roll.
That was 2 dark side and 1 light side pip. I'll take the light side pip.
And did you succeed on your vigilance roll?
And let me make my vigilance roll. Doing subtractions, that's a single success.
Okay. So, you open your senses outwards, pushing them as far as you can, not just to feel the thoughts and presence of your companions, but also the whole area around you, and to strike down any deceptions that might be being sent your way. There are no illusions here, Baron. This is your reality now. Where you are, this is the path that you are on. Yeah, it's not what was here before, but in the Force, there are many places and many worlds, and they are all one in the Force. You feel like you have lit a candle in the centre of a cave. You can feel the hearts and thoughts and emotions of those around you. And I think with the roll that you gave, I'm just going to want from everyone around you just very quick, a snapshot of your emotion. 1 or 2 words.
Agatha's hesitant. I mean, eager to go forward, but also hesitant to confront things.
Jiren is worried, but not for himself.
Scared, expecting a trap.
Prinkle is worried and incandescently angry.
We might not need an actual roll, because I don't think there's any mechanical effect on us at the moment. But Jiren is going to do the same thing you would do if you were going to be doing a leadership role to help people against their fear. So he's essentially just talking to everybody, saying, we know what we need to do here. Do not worry. We've been in this sort of situation before. Baron will walk us through it. We will stay together, and we will get through this. And if we had a load of negative effects on us, I'd like to make a leadership role there, but that's essentially what he's doing.
But yeah, Baron, you have lit a candle in the centre of a cave. Outside of this sphere of light that you're projecting is implacable, overwhelming night, and it is pressing in on you from all sides. You cannot sense anything outside of your bubble except darkness. Cold, patient, hungry darkness.
Baron says to everyone, okay, it's going to be very strange. We are in a place where the dark side thrives. The force is here, but it's not the force that lends us aid. It's not the force that helps. It's the part of the force that is hunger, that is anger, and it's everywhere here. We have walked into a swamp of darkness. Please look to your emotions and calm down.
Oh, thanks for that, says Lassa. You know what? The first thing I thought when I walked into this hellhole of weird darkness and where it looks like someone's come in, done some decorating and decided, well, you know what we're going for? Dark and evil cave. That's what we're going for. What I really thought to help me calm my nerves and deal with this wibbly-woo stuff was that I need to be told that we're in the depths of the deepest darkness of evil force. That's really going to curb me down.
I can't lie to you. It is as bad as you feel it is. But please, we need to keep our head above the water.
Baron?
Yes?
Simple question, yes or no. Do you think he knows where we are?
Pretty sure yes.
Oh, good. Jiren starts singing the theme tune to Heights and Depths. Just belting it out there. I don't know what the theme tune to Heights and Depths is, but he just starts singing it.
I join in on the on this impromptu version of "You Are My Sunshine," but I'm just doing the I'm just doing the low notes because I'm not very musical.
Damn it, I thought Agatha had the low notes. But
yeah, essentially, as you might be aware, it's just a distraction technique to get us focused.
I was going to say, this is where Agatha turns out to be unexpectedly a soprano.
I would love that so much. I want to roll a dice to make it true, Adam.
Do you want to flip a light side point?
We are not spending a light side point for it to be
I'm not that enthusiastic.
Your voices are weirdly muffled, and more concerningly, for being in what is clearly a cave structure, there is no echo. It is like your sound isn't carrying. Once it gets a certain distance away from you, it feels... It's a hard one to describe, but I hope you kind of get what I'm saying here. You know, it is like you're carrying around a silence around you. The sounds that you're making don't carry as far as they should before stumbling down.
I think from what he's saying, it's like we're carrying around a bubble of normal space-time, but everything else feels like, you know how fog absorbs sound and everything like that?
Yes, absolutely that, Mim, absolutely. Yeah.
Adam?
Yeah?
I'm going to roll my force dice again. And that's one light side pip and one dark side pip on battle meditation. Can we sync if we're all singing slightly?
I am not singing. Lass's jaw is on the floor in the... I believe I told you we were almost certainly walking into a trap which has been designed by somebody with a heck of a lot more resources, time and effort than us. And now we're singing about things? Heights and Depths has got lots of droids in it, hasn't it? Oh no, was that all my parts?
That's Clone with the Wind, which was the rival show set during the Clone Wars era. It's very pro-Imperial. But yes, no, yeah, your sounds, it is like being in the middle of a fog. It just kind of deadens the sounds. You carry on down these tunnels, and they are shaped strangely as well. In some places they're very narrow, in other places they're quite wide, and they are dark down here. The only light that is being cast is the light that you have brought with you. And Jiren, even your Chiss night vision isn't getting the range that you expect that it should do down here. You know that in these tunnels, where there is no sources of light save that you've brought with you, you should still be able to see out in monochrome. You know, you can see in the dark perfectly well.
Yeah.
But not here. You can see out maybe 20, 30 foot thereabouts, and then it just kind of fogs down.
I get the feeling that that's because after 20, 30 foot, there's nothing to see. But that's certainly what Jiren's thinking. From what Baron has said, we're in a bubble, and that's all there is. We'll just keep walking.
Agatha's going to try something potentially stupid but instinctive, which is he's going to use whatever force thing he can muster and basically try and push the darkness back. He understands it's not something he can push back, but force is mystical and weird, right?
Are you going to basically punch the darkness with your mind?
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, is the darkness making Agatha feel particularly angry? Is there aggression coming from this claustrophobia or anything?
I imagine so, because, I mean, he'd probably be getting apprehensive, but he also recognises, like, we've been in similar thing before, like with the Mystic Temple back on Alpin. So he's got at least a basis for this is not necessarily just darkness being darkness. And the Force has worked well on so many other things so far that why not? Agatha's been particularly blunt about this one. The question is, is it something I can try and do? Or to put it another way, I've got the word Force Suppress on my character sheet. Can I use that, please?
Yeah, certainly. Roll me your Force die.
1 light side and 1 dark side. Plus 1 dark side from being in here. I would like to use my 1 light side point, please.
Okay. So you reach out and try to grip whatever is doing this to you. But you realise that there's nothing to sink your fingers into. This is not a conscious, targeted effect on you. This is not another Force user imposing their will upon you to put you in this place. Much as Baron found, this is just your reality at the moment. What you are able to do, however, is to push that little bubble in which you can perceive what is happening out that little bit further. Just a little bit further. And you can feel more of the shape of what is happening here. It feels like there is a will behind it, but it is not specifically targeted at you. It is just the power of the dark side in this place is so strong it is warping reality to the path your destiny needs you to walk.
Can we sort of see any further than we were able to before?
It depends what light sources you're currently using down here, because there is no natural light in these tunnels.
I'm using the stab light on my rifle.
I'm trying to think whether there's a torch attached to the stun gun.
It's not a stun gun, it's a full blaster rifle with the sights on it. They have night vision sights on them.
I'm going to put those sights on and have a look through that.
Raise the rifle and look down the scope.
Yeah, I mean, I do realise it's not a stun gun, but the simplest way I get to thinking of it, because that's what he was to use it for, so...
Looking through the night vision optics on this scope, much as Jiren was seeing with his own, natural Chissian night vision optics, again, you can see out a bit further, and Jiren, you can see out a bit further as well. Your field of vision is now maybe 40 to 50 feet before it just fades away into darkness. Prinkle has a small glow rod that he's kind of pointing out towards the back, but again, that's kind of dissipating. Again, the fog analogy comes very heavily to mind here. The fog in this case is not visible fog, but it's that similar kind of diffusing effect on sound and light.
Lassa's kind of had enough of all this wibbly-woo stuff, and because she's kind of scared, Baron hasn't helped with that. Everyone is suddenly very interested in going, ooh, oppressiveness. She's got a torch on her because, as an engineer, she's always got a light source on her, and it doesn't seem to be doing much, but she's very much going to set her jaw and just go, well, I've had enough of this, and she storms off ahead. The idea that she can outrun or outpace whatever's happening or get to the edge of it. So she's basically pegging it now.
Stop singing and follow her.
Is she pushing forward past Baron and Agatha, or is he striking off on her in some other direction?
No, she's going to push past all of you, just slip on by and just try and find the end of it. Since we've been singing and people know they're coming, may as well one idiot fall in the trap and the rest be there to get them out of it. Then we all spend ages sitting here going, oh, wibbly woo.
Well, screw you, I'm following you. We're all going to fall in the trap, or at least I am.
No, I pick up the pace to make sure that my friend isn't. As soon as I notice that I'm like, you're about to push past, I'm like, I just pick up the pace and go, yeah, point. Good point. Move.
I'm going to check that Prinkle's still with us and keep following on behind, but now looks like I'm picking up the rear.
Does this turn into a hustle? Are we hustling rather than...
Maybe, but from her perspective, as she's moving, she's getting faster and faster as she's letting a bit of panic set in of, we've got to get to the end of this, we've got to get out of this, there has to be a way out of this. And she kind of stops thinking in terms of a team and is just, I will get out of this.
I would definitely like to do a leadership role now to try and cut that panic from you. And the way he does this is he says, Lasser! An Ewok scrolls into a bar and says to the bartender, I'll have a whiskey and a soda. The bartender says, sure thing, why the little pause? The Ewok says, I don't know, I've had them all my life. And I'm hoping that's going to stop her to go, what the heck are you doing? The most powerful thing in this entire universe is Lasser getting annoyed with Jiren. So I think that's probably going to be a snapper out of this panic while she turns around to do her favourite sport of shouting at Jiren, which will help.
I don't know, you're going up against my obsession about getting out of this and not being around all this wibbly-woo stuff.
I will leave it to you two to arbitrate this one. Do you want to make it an opposed roll, Mim, to see whether he can break through Lasser's focus, or are you happy for that to have done it without a roll?
I'd like to go for an opposed thing, so you either got to come and catch me or win this. I mean, you probably will, but...
Well, I am catching you. The reason I want them stopping this is not because I don't want to move forward. Because you were going, no, don't shout, that's tactically stupid, and then ran off. So basically he's trying to stop you from running off and getting us all dead.
Well, if we're doing stupid stuff...
Just because I'm doing stupid stuff.
So it'll be Mikey rolling.
Yep.
And the difficulty will be your discipline.
My discipline is 2 green.
So it'll be 2 purple.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting. That was a dreadful roll. Yeah. 1 advantage and 3 dark side, considering I am... Yeah. So, I mean, obviously I'm not going to use the dark side, because that's just insane. So it's a failure, so that does not stop you. I don't know. I think possibly I've got 1 advantage. Usually I can use that to get strain back on me. Has Lasser got any strain?
No, I got my strain back after the shooting.
Oh, that's a shame. Because I thought Jiren telling jokes behind her might resolve her to keep going, to be honest. So, no, I'd like my advantage to be that we don't lose sight of Lasser. We try and keep up with her, even though she's in the front now.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, the bubble is stretching out to keep you all together rather than potentially breaking, depending on how fast Lasser's moving.
So we can see each other, and we can see maybe like 20 feet over the shoulder of someone who's 20 feet away?
Yeah.
It's just us?
Yeah.
Okay.
In these tunnels that twist and wind, and you can hear like dripping of water, and you can feel a cold breeze starting to blow kind of down the tunnel towards you, and it's all very dark. It's very, very dark. You know, there's just your torches kind of punching through the darkness, and then suddenly you're standing in a cavern. There is natural light here coming through the frozen waterfall on the far side of the cavern, and you can see the Coldfire's Mercy docked.
Is anyone else getting deja vu?
I'm going to stop running.
Jiren, slightly out of breath, catches up. Well, that was stupid.
The cavern seems bigger than you remember it, though. And there's a lot more stalactites and stalagmites and outcroppings and natural walkways. The light coming through the waterfall, it's blindingly bright when contrasted against the darkness you've been stumbling through. But again, there's weird diffractions here. It's all very ethereal and very, very, very cold.
Adam, I'm just going to do Occam's razor for a second. Is it a different cavern?
No. It is the same cavern, but amplified.
I understand. It's essentially the original cavern was the LucasArts 1990s game, and this is the remastered version with the nicer graphics. Understand? All right, so is everybody in the has everybody appeared?
Yeah.
With us, including Prinkle?
Yeah, those of you who were a bit behind Lasser are still in a tunnel, but it is the tunnel that you remember that leads down to the cavern where Coldfire's Mercy was.
Okay.
That is at least familiar.
Didn't the tunnel you got through to get here go through the meditation chamber?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which we haven't seen yet.
No, we haven't.
Nope.
Okay.
No, you haven't.
And there's no signs of life anywhere?
Well,
Thank you. That's what I wanted to ask. I assumed that you would have mentioned it beforehand.
so, firstly, your data slates and comms start to ping, with effectively a voicemail from the crew that you left aboard the Gambit.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just going to quickly paraphrase for the sake of speed, because there's not any immediate signs of life looking into the cavern, and time seems to be stretching strangely here as well, in that you can see these messages coming through, and you're processing them as fast as you would normally process them, but like the motes of dust that are drifting down in this cavern, and the feel of the passage of time here is all skewed. It's very kind of unsettling and a little destabilising. The messages that have come through from the Gambit are that another craft entered the system, was identified as a bounty hunting craft, and then was shot out of the sky by the lamentable necessity. There has been some further comm chatter from the stormtroopers that are stationed here, and then another message arrives, cutting into your comm links from a local short-range broadcast. Good soldiers follow orders. There's a second, and then echoing across the cavern, amplified by the strange dimensions here, you hear the unmistakable sound of a rotary blaster cannon start to spool up.
Okay. Take cover. I don't know where we're taking cover from, but let's go and stand next to something.
I'm going to stay in this corridor bit.
I was going to try and figure out exactly where my friend is and then throw a grenade at him.
I think, as the message comes over, as you suddenly throw yourself into cover, and your movements kind of seem slightly sluggish as you're leaping behind cover, I think that's where I'm going to end this episode. Thank you to my players for playing. Thank you to our listeners for listening. And before we go, this episode's patron is Graham. Graham has provided us with some truly magnificent fan art in the past, and we can't tell you how much we love them. We're really grateful for the support and enthusiasm you've shown for our little story, and we're so glad to have you on board as a backer. Thank you very, very much, matey. You're an absolute star. Look after yourself. All of you look after yourselves and be well. And we will see what happens as our heroes confront their former friend next time. Force Majeure is played using the Star Wars Force and Destiny game system by Fantasy Flight Games and Lucas Books. Our intro music for this season is Unholy Night by Kevin MacLeod, and our outro music remains Suburban Outlaw by Forget the Whale, both used with gratitude under the Creative Commons license. If you like the show and want to interact with us, we are on Twitter, we are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, all of which are at Force Majeure Pod, though Twitter is probably where you're going to find us more regularly. If you enjoy what we do and want to support the show, there's 3 ways you can do that. The first is via our Patreon at patreon.com/forcemajeurepod. The second is by buying us a coffee at ko-fi.com/forcemajeurepod. And the third way is by rating and reviewing us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, anywhere where you can find us. We really like reviews. It tells us that we're telling the stories that you want to hear and helps other people find us. Thank you very much for listening. We'll see you next time.